let him kill you.
Fate decided.
Let's get this party started.
Craving something scary.
Hello, Sydney. It's an honor.
Killjoy Jake.
Don't you swear at me, you little shit! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother!
Watch Zone.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
The collective has spoken.
What's up, guys?
Has spoken.
I like that. All right, that's like a remix. All right.
It was like echoing.
Yeah.
Someone's phone was on. Dun,
Probably.
dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun. All right, guys, here we are on Fridays, Lethal Collective time, and we are going to be talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. Woo! All right.
Oh,
guys.
yeah.
Look, man, I'm hyped up. Jake, I know you're hyped up. Who would have thought? Now, I just want to throw this out here, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong. We're going to start with non-spoiler thoughts, at least for a few minutes. And then we will let you guys know when we get into spoilers. So we will get into some spoilers, but we will give you guys a warning. All right. And hey to everyone in the chat. We got a couple people here. We got Bobby, Wayne, Carrie, Liv. All right. Nice
What's
to see
going
you.
on, everyone?
Hey.
Appreciate y'all being here.
Absolutely. Emma, NT. All right. Austin. What's up? What's up? All right, guys.
How are we doing? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's start this thing off, man. Jake, we'll just go clockwise. Jake, I'll have you start it off. What are some of your non-spoiler thoughts on what you witnessed with this Netflix thing?
I liked it overall. I think it was a pretty fun film. It's a slasher movie at its core, without spoiling anything, of course. It's not the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie I wanted, but I'll take it. You know what I mean? Like I think it was really good for what it is. I would love a film that kind of harkens back to that original movie of kind of being a psychological thriller once again, more than a slasher, but this was still a really fun time with some super disturbing kills and some really fun stuff throughout. So I really enjoyed it without spoiling anything. Once again, didn't love the ending that much. But the 80% of this movie is pretty great though, and very enjoyable. So
All right. How about you, Fate?
Yeah, so similar sentiment. It was better than I thought it would be, if I'm being honest, especially with everything that was going on behind the scenes and just the mess and Netflix kind of taking it over and having to sort of bandage it together. Given the fact that they did that, I think it was a successful movie. I thought it was one of the better ones in the franchise because we've had some bad ones. So
Yes.
I mean, it's up there as one of the better ones for sure, in my opinion. I did enjoy it. The ending, I'm with you. Like it was underwhelming. I thought it was a nice paced movie. I thought it had some pretty good build up, had some meta moments, some good moments overall. And then we got to the end scene, and I was really underwhelmed. I was like, I wish you would have given us a little more to go off of. But all in all, yeah, I did. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a well done film. I'll definitely watch it again so I can kind of, hopefully there's some stuff that maybe I missed, Easter eggs, things like that. Because there were a couple things throughout this film that I thought were interesting. So hopefully second time around, like I'll end up being like, yeah, this was great, but just a little underwhelming. What about you, Craven?
Yeah, I watched it as well as I think I watched it a little bit after you guys. I mean, I was getting ready to push play, and I'm like, Killjoy Jake's got review up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just now getting ready to watch this thing. I mean, you guys been up all night. But yeah, I watched it a little bit earlier. I overall liked the movie. Okay, I was a little concerned going into this film for the Belgian Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, facts.
And I was just like, come on, man. I'm a native Texan, so my standards are high when it comes to these things. So I was pleased to say that I thought it was a pretty decent little movie.
Yeah.
It was a fun movie, and I thought the kills were great, man. I honestly gave it like an A for kills in this movie, without getting specifics, which we'll do later. And the Sandy character, obviously the original actress is no longer with us, but the Sandy character was cool. I don't know that I'm very pleased with how it all went down with Sandy. Right?
You mean Sally?
I'm
Sally.
Sally, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I meant Sally. Sandy's on my mind from somebody else right now, so that just kind of creeped in. Sally. Excuse me, guys. All you diehards, don't go crazy on me in the chat. Yes, you know who I'm talking about. But I was glad to see her back. I thought it was really cool. That's one of the things I was looking most forward to, was them incorporating her back. And I thought, what a cool element that you're going to have these new people that are going to be slaughter bait, and then you're going to have Sally coming back, which I was really anxious to see how her arc was going to finish in the movie.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that later. I do have more to say on that. But I watched it with headphones too, Carrie, by the way. And I enjoyed it with the headphones. But you do hear a lot of little nuances that you may miss. But overall, the kills, I was most happy with the kills. And that was my number one thing of the movie to me. And we're going to get to the bus scene later, because the bus scene, no pun intended, but it really is. We're going to have to park the bus later
right,
and dig into that. So anyway,
absolutely.
my overall thoughts are, it's a good slasher movie, good kills. It didn't bore me, and I thought it was not one of those movies where you're like, oh, come on, man, this looks horrible. I thought the visuals were done really well. The effects were done good. So.
Well, it's actually, before I say my part, I wanted to just say happy birthday to Jessica.
Happy birthday, Jessica.
Happy birthday.
Me and Fate are on the same wavevelength today.
We
said
are.
the same thing.
We're one
twice.
mind. We are. We are just two peas in a pod.
Something like that.
But when I watched it, I was definitely very nervous about this film, and I watched it, and I had to do a non-spoiler reaction after it, and I just had a smile on my face. I think, to me, that was the bottom line, is I watched this movie and I had a smile on my face, because they did a lot of good things. The kills were great. There was a lot of gore. The practical effects were very good. That, to me, really means a lot, because we've seen a lot of horror movies, in recent years, really veer very, very much to the CGI side of things. But the practical in this film was actually very good, especially one particular scene where, let's just say, a person's smile was widened quite a bit. I also want to say that Leatherface looked really good in this film. There was a lot of cinematic, there was nice moments in the shots and the angles. I mean, he looked as good in this movie as he has in at least the last couple of sequels, and for this franchise, it's had a lot of ups and downs. And I definitely think this was a good entry, and it didn't bore me at all. And I want to watch it again. That tells me everything I need to know, because the last few entries were movies that didn't really do much for me. So considering what they dealt with the production of this film, and really nobody gave this thing a chance. I mean, nobody really gave it a chance. Even we were all nervous and cautious. To me, it's a victory. It's a victory. It was a very very enjoyable film. If you're a fan of slashers or gore, if you're a fan of TCM, although, like you said, Jake, this isn't really that gritty, grimy, documentary type of vibe that Tobe Hooper had. But then again, you're not gonna do better than that. So they kind of carved their own niche, and I think it was a pretty good effort.
You're right. And something that I actually got a comment today on one of my videos about was they made Leatherface into a Michael Myers, a Jason Voorhees with the sequels. And I responded, they were like, why did they do that to him in this new movie? And I'm like, well, I mean, that's kind of what they've been doing with Leatherface since the first sequel back in 86. I like personally, it's for me, it's like it's still good, like it's still cool stuff. I'm enjoying it a lot, but I've always wanted to see a sequel to TCM that's much more closer to the original. That's goes back to that art house feel, or that grimy, like this looks like a snuff film kind of vibe, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm not complaining about this either because this is still a great movie. I still have I had a lot of fun with it, and it's so bloody. It's so fast paced too. It's only 82 minutes. Like it goes by like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's something we talked about though, even on the last collective. You know, like I would rather be a short movie and actually get the points across, which I thought it was. I thought it was a short movie, but it was well done for being a short movie.
I agree.
It felt like the right time.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a very modern version of the classic. Like this is like what we got here, I felt was like what it would have been if we saw it, 79 now, I think that would have, this was it was very traditional. It had a lot of nostalgia in it. It was kind of like a Halloween ripoff in many ways, especially towards the end scene. There was some really serious, like I was like, okay, so we're just blatantly ripping off Halloween here. But overall, I thought it was pretty interesting, and I enjoy fast-paced movies.
I will say one thing that was very surprising, and we're not at spoilers yet, so this is still non-spoiler, but it had especially one, but maybe two characters that usually in these types of movies you will hate, and you're supposed to hate them, and you're just waiting for them to die. I liked them both, especially the particular one I'm talking about. I could not believe I was actually rooting for this character. I didn't want him to die, and even though he was a little gruff and around the edges, I actually enjoyed his character. Now, usually in a movie, especially in a horror movie, you've got those characters that are just assholes to be assholes. But this movie, just to give it some credit, it kind of had some arcs going on that I did not expect. And I cared about the main characters, the sisters. So again, hey, bravo.
Question: did you guys all watch the scene post credits?
The post credit scene.
Yeah.
So when you guys were talking about earlier the ending, which ending were you
about
not
Act
happy
3.
with?
Talk about Act 3.
Okay, you're not talking about the post credit.
I'm talking about the entire ending, not the post credit scene. Talk about the actual ending itself. I didn't really like.
I didn't have a problem with I didn't have a problem with the third act, man. I don't know. For me, I did.
I was half and half.
Yeah,
and not to the point, and I just for me anyways, not to the point that it took away from my enjoyment of the film, but I definitely saw, I saw the man behind the curtain, so to speak, and it definitely could have been better, but still overall, I was okay with the third act. Some of it, was predictable,
Oh yeah.
Without spoiling anything, like the whole movie is pretty like, okay, this could happen, and then the ending is just like they're like, no, we want to do something crazy with one of our characters, and we'll see what happens with it, if that makes any sense. I can't spoil it, so like this doesn't probably make any sense, but
it became something else entirely in many ways.
And they just wanted to get to the after the credit scene. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
They just wanted to do that scene, and it's like it's pointless. It's cool, but it's pointless.
It was just underwhelming, I felt, overall. Like the at least the third act. Like I thought it was a nice pace. You established, you had some awesome moments. You had, a little nostalgia, a little meta, a little everything that you would want from this kind of movie. And I was like, this is actually really good. And then I got to the third act and I was like, all right, well, thanks for just turning what would have been arguably one of the best, if not the best in the franchise, not counting, the classic, but like to just like going completely left field. And that was my problem, is I felt like this movie would have been up there as like right there with the original, somewhere up, not like kind of how I felt about Scream 5. Like it's, one of the better, if not the best sequels up there. But after the third act, I still like 2003 better. There's a couple other, like 2006 was okay. I put this above that. So I would put this like maybe third in the franchise, where this probably would have been as far as like remakes goes.
Mhm.
Than where this might have been number one, something along those lines. But yeah,
Wayne was
Fate,
saying that he.
I got some breaking news here.
Yes.
Angela is in the chat.
Oh, it's just funny. Angela's in the chat, and so is Carrie.
So is Carrie.
But
Yeah.
when Carrie wasn't in the chat last time, Angela was there. I'm just saying. Just strange. Just strange that every
Oh,
time Carrie's
man.
here, Angela's here, and every time Carrie's not here, Angela isn't here. I'm just
Look
throwing it
at
out
Carrie. Carrie's like,
What?
oh, look, Angela's here. Hey, Angela.
Well, I can tell you that this whole Angela folklore now, because it's spreading to our channels. Like people are commenting on our own channels about Angela.
Yeah.
And
Angela's become
just like
the
Jake,
shape.
the shape, yeah. And Jake and Jake and his hospital thing,
Dude,
that's still going on.
Thank you to Wayne for giving me all of these comments about how much I love hospitals and horror movies. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Man, I got to tell you something, without giving a spoiler away, although it really won't give it away. But whenever we got to the end of the movie, you know what kept coming to my mind? And you guys are going to know exactly what I'm talking about.
What?
Think back to Nightmare on Elm Street, and Nancy gets in the car and they drive away.
Yeah, I know exactly.
And this particular scene happens at the front door.
Yeah.
And that's all I could think of. That's all that was in my mind. I'm like, oh, come on, man. You know, I hope you say, thanks to Wes Craven somewhere in that in the credits on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say right now.
True enough. True enough.
I was like, come on, man.
Yeah, no,
What's up, Chad?
That was the part I didn't like.
There were several, like even there's even like a Norman Bates moment in the film, which I think is pretty interesting. Like there was like some scenes that were just very blatant ripoffs of like other franchises, and it was like they just like threw in all of these like hey, let's take from all these classic movies and throw these out, like, and that's kind of what it was. I mean, yeah, it just, like I said, you got a blatant Halloween ripoff, you got like a Nightmare ripoff, you got a a Psycho ripoff, but like not even hiding it. Like it's not even like it's not even like oh, this is just a slightly. It's like almost like you could probably put them side by side and they are like identical. Like it just it was funny to like sit there. And I was just like, okay, so we're going this route. All right, okay. And then we get to Act 3 and they just turned it into something else entirely. And I was just like, oh,
yeah.